The town, which contains over 21,000 people, runs along the slope of a range of picturesque hills. And from the forest, which in part resembles a collection of our finest English parks, there are magnificent views over the ancient province of Yamato. I thought it lovely even in the mist, with great natural beauty heightened by religious art, and a gray melancholy of arrested decay, which is very solemn. I'm on Mount Wakaksa in Nara City. The mountain range is magnificent, and the cityscape blends in beautifully with the natural surroundings. It is here that British traveler Isabella Bird stood on an autumn day some 140 years ago, as she prepared to depart Nara on a journey of about 10 days. Her destination, Ise Jingu, the most famous shrine in Japan. I would like to retrace some parts of her journey.
Japan, as seen through the eyes of explorer Isabella Bird.
Wow! I can't believe a place like this still exists.
Rachel Augie studied anthropology in the United States and also in Kyoto. On this edition of Journeys in Japan, she retraces Isabella Bird's footsteps, visiting the sacred sites of Nara and Ise. Nara, the ancient capital of Japan, lies some 380 kilometers west of Tokyo. Located in a basin surrounded by mountains, this area is home to numerous historic sites and shrines dating back over 1,000 years. Bird visited the area in autumn, accompanied by an interpreter, the wife of an American missionary.
I've arrived at the famous Nara Park, which is home to the Great Buddha of Nara and Kasuga Taisha Shrine. It's also home to Nara's famous deer. They were here when Isabella visited, too.
The deer are all wild. Since ancient times, long before Isabella arrived in Japan, they have been revered as the messengers of the deities.
Hey, that's mine. Among the many interesting things are a number of sacred deer, which wander about the majestic groves and avenues, and follow one about greedily, begging for cakes, which their pertinacity compels one to buy.
Bird's book, Unbeaten Tracks in Japan, is a record of what she saw and experienced in Japan 140 years ago. She wrote it in the form of letters home to her sister. Bird was born in Yorkshire in the north of England. She was 47 when she arrived in Japan. Later, she went on to travel further in Asia and the Middle East. Her journey took her from Yokohama to Nikko, Niigata, Akita, Aomori, and finally to Hokkaido. After that, she visited the Kansai region. In all, she stayed in Japan for 6 months, half of which was spent in northern Japan. Bird traveled to Kobe by ship, then moved to Kyoto, where she stayed a while. First, she explored Nara Prefecture before heading to Ise in neighboring Mie Prefecture. For most of her trip, she traveled by jinriksha, or rickshaw.
It's said that Isabella spent an entire day exploring this area. However, she did not write about the Great Buddha, the largest in Japan, or Kasuga Taisha Shrine, which were already famous at that time. Instead, she wrote about this place, Shosoin.
The ancient Shosoin repository houses the treasures of the emperor. The appearance of this striking building has not changed since it was first built 1,200 years ago. Around 9,000 items were stored here, including musical instruments and fabrics.
More curious still is the fact that not only has a wooden building escaped the destructive agencies of 1,000 years, but that the actual articles mentioned in the inventory of the 8th century are there. What we would not give for such a collection made by Charlemagne or Alfred. As was true in Isabella's time, ordinary people can't enter Shosoin. However, I've heard there are artisans nearby that make folk crafts connected to it. I'm going to take a look. Wow, 綺麗なうちわですね. You can see the tines of the fan very well. I love the scushy body. And it's got my favorite deer in it.
Nara Uchiwa fans are a craft traditional to Nara. The deer motif is copied from one of the Shosoin treasures. Around the time Isabella visited Japan, auspicious motifs such as the deer began to be used on furnishings or kimono. The designs were called Shosoin Monyo.
Yahari そうですね。奈良うちわの特徴としてやっぱり奈良にゆかりのあるデザインが多いので、鹿っていうのはすごく僕たちにとっては大切なデザインになっております。
This craft has been kept alive by Ikeda Tadashi, the 6th generation of his artisan family. He says the most difficult part is the open work, cutting out the design through a pile of 20 sheets of washi paper. He does it that way to save on labor, but it requires superlative skill and the finest tools.
He makes it look so easy, but this is probably really hard to do. If he makes one mistake, all of these are going to be no good. That's incredible.
The fans are based on one made 1,300 years ago for Kasuga Taisha Shrine, which was used for religious rituals. During the Edo period, they became popular for everyday use. The Ikeda family adopted openwork carving 170 years ago and began creating designs more in line with the times.
どうしてShosoin文様を使われてるんですか？
そうですね。一目で奈良を味わえる、感じていただけるようなデザインっていうのがやはり一つShosoin文様なのかなっていうところから、2代目永三郎がいかに綺麗にそしてかっこよく上品に見えるかっていうのを意識してデザインし直したんではないのかなと思いますね。
なるほど。どうやってこの文様を手に入れたんですか？
正直ね、わからないっていうのが一言です。っていうのもですね、職人と呼ばれる人間って書物、資料とかを一切残しません。なので僕たちも本当に口でそして耳で聞いて伝えていってるっていう形になるので。
そうなんですね。さすが伝承ですね。
そうですね。
すごい綺麗な曲線になってますね。どれくらい練習が必要で、綺麗な曲線。
The Hase district of Sakurai City lies 25 kilometers south of Nara. By chance, Bird came across a Buddhist temple here at the foot of a mountain.
Is Isabella looked at the shops and houses on the street and wrote, "The entire area looks like Switzerland." Today, the street is lined with shops selling delicious Japanese sweets, like these kusamochi. 美味しそうですね。
ようこそお参り。
Hasedera Temple is said to have been founded in the second half of the 7th century. To reach the main worship hall, visitors have to climb 399 stairs, or total.
Wow, the mountains here are incredible. And the leaves are gorgeous this time of year. I can only imagine how Isabella felt when she first saw this place. It was all so unexpected, so off the beaten track of foreign travel, and we had tumbled unawares into one of the most famous places in Japan, celebrated in poetry and painting, and one of the most popular of the many places of pilgrimage, beautiful Hasedera.
"15 kilometers eastward from Hasedera lies Sambonmatsu in Uda City. Running through the town is the old Hasekaido Highway, leading to the sacred Ise Jingu shrine. Here, Bird dismounted from her rickshaw and went to look for accommodation herself. She found an inn called Nushia.
Aha! I found it. Do you see the sign that says Nushia? This is the actual place where Isabella stayed when she visited here. Wow. I can't believe a place like this still exists. It's in great shape. I reached the village of Sambonmatsu, or Higenashi, alone, to find total darkness, not a chink in the amado of any house giving evidence of light within. By dint of much shouting, we succeeded in getting the door of a yadoya opened. Because people still live here, I obtained special permission so we can take a look inside today. すいません。こんにちは。
こんにちは。
はじめまして、レイチェルと申します。とても素敵な建物ですね。中も素敵です。
ありがとうございます。
はい、ご自身はこちらの家で育ったんですか？
はい。30年間ここに住んでました。
あ、そうなんですね。はい、建物も古そうですけど、いつ頃からあるんでしょうか？
父に聞いたところによると、江戸末期の時に、ここ旅館をしてたっていうので、はい、江戸末期に建った家っていうふうに聞いてるんですけれども。
そうなんですね。はい、
During the Edo period, a growing number of pilgrims visited the Ise Jingu shrine. Inns and tea houses were built to accommodate the crowds passing through Sambonmatsu. Nushia was one of them. These days, time seems to stand still here. But back in the day, these alleys were packed with people.
こうして奇跡的に残していて私が見えることできました。ありがとうございました。
はい、よかったです。はい、ありがとうございます。
Crossing into Mie Prefecture through the perilous Aoyama Pass, Isabella's party continued on their way to Ise Jingu Shrine. Isabella describes the city of Ise as the cradle of the ancient faith. Ise Jingu is centered around two main shrines, the inner one and the outer one, located about 4 kilometers apart. Naiku, the inner shrine, is said to date back 2,000 years. Every 20 years, the shrine structures are rebuilt to ensure the deities have a beautiful, clean home.
At last, I've arrived at the famous Ise Jingu. When Isabella visited, she only looked around, but I think I would like to say a little prayer.
The pilgrimage to Ise Jingu was known as Ise Mairi. For people in Japan, the journey was a once-in-a-lifetime dream. The pilgrims would first visit the Gekku to pray to the guardian of daily life, and then head to the Naiku, where the supreme deity is enshrined.
These temples of Ise, the Gekku and the Naiku, called by the Japanese by a name which literally means the two great divine palaces, rank first among Shinto shrines in point of sanctity, and are to Shintoists, even in the irreligious present, something of what Mecca is to Muslims and the holy places of Jerusalem to Greeks and Latins.
However, Ise Jingu was not what Isabella had been expecting. For her, it seemed too simple and lacking in glamour.
I think Ise Jingu is gorgeous. There's something almost modern about the simplicity of its design. And the forests are amazing. These cedar trees are said to be about 500 years old. The Japanese often refer to this place as a power spot. I can understand why. The energy here is incredible. I'm on my way to visit the inner shrine of Ise Jingu. But before I do that, I would like to visit this museum where I can learn about the history of the area. Actually, Isabella expressed a certain dissatisfaction when she visited Ise Jingu. I might be able to find out why at this museum. Konnichiwa. よろしくお願いします。よろしくお願いします。ちょっと質問があるんですけれども、はい、どうぞ。140年前の外国人が書いている本に、大きな神社やお寺の周りには、歓楽街があるっていうふうに書いてるんですけれども、伊勢神宮の場合はどうしたでしょうか？
ですね、伊勢神宮の場合も江戸時代になってきますと神宮参拝客が増えてきまして、遊郭とか芝居会ができてきました。やっぱり人の多く集まるところ、やはりこのような歓楽街ができるんですね。
そうなんですね。面白いですね。
はいはい
Bird was not impressed by the entertainment districts she found close by temples and shrines. Back in those days, worshippers would first pay their respects at the shrine with reverence. But after that, they'd customarily just enjoy themselves.
旅のシンボルは何だと思いますか？
いや、なんでしょうかね。
実は尺なんですよ。
柄杓？神社でよく見る、手を洗う時に使っているものですよね。
そうですね。はい。これがそうなんですね。
ああ、本当だ。柄杓なの。面白い。
神宮参拝ということで、食べ物とか飲み物を恵んでもらえることもできました。
ああ、そうなんですね。じゃあ絶対持った方がお得ですね。
そうですね。はい。
During the Edo period, Ise Jingu would draw up to 4 million worshippers a year. The pilgrimage was coordinated by Shinto priests from the shrine, known as onshi, who traveled across the country carrying medicines and other gifts, gathering believers and arranging their journeys to Ise to the shrine.
いやー、でも参拝している人がたくさんいますね。
そうですね。はい。
その時代の人々は自分でお金を貯めて旅したわけですかね。
やはりね、個人のお金ではなかなか大変ですから、地域の人でこう集めて、そのお金で順番に行ったというような感じなんですね。まあ今でいうツアーコンダクターみたいな仕事だったと思いますので、はいはい、そうです。はい。
かなり面白いシステムですね。
そうですね。はい、そう思います。はい。
The street leading to Ise Jingu's inner shrine, Naiku, is called Oharai Machi. Until a few years before Bird's visit, it was lined with guest houses run by the onshi. But these days, they have been replaced by restaurants and cafes.
This place is incredible. There's something really exciting about visiting historical places like these. And look, I have a hishaku now, just like travelers did in Isabella's time. There are a lot of interesting shops around here. Oh, I know this place. This is a Japanese sweet shop that's been around since the Edo period. Isabella might have seen this place when she was here too. Isn't that cool? All these shops remind me of a person that Isabella wrote about. He was a rickshaw puller who bought his children lots of toys wherever he went. I wonder if there's still toy stores around. Oh, this is a toy store. Yes, excellent. すいません。
はい、どうぞいらっしゃいませ。
はい、こんにちは。
どうぞ。はい。
ちょっと質問してもいいですか？
どうぞどうぞ。はい。
こちらは伊勢ならではのおもちゃですか？
そうですね。伊勢玩具って言いましてね。こちらはろくろで作る丸いおもちゃですね。
伊勢玩具の特徴は何でしょうか？
特徴ですね。
はい。
やっぱ色合いですね。ですからこういった原色を使ったおもちゃが多いんですわ。
そうなんですね。
These are toys known as Ise Jingu. The most typical is a spinning top made of wood from nearby forests. They are said to date back to the late 19th century, early in the Meiji era. Pilgrims used to bring home these local souvenirs as proof that they made the trip.
It is harder than it looks. Let's try again. Yes! Okay, hang on. Reset. He is a peasant proprietor, but when times are not busy, leaves his land in his wife's care and draws a kuruma. He buys toys for his children everywhere, so that the well in the kuruma is full of them. And having worshipped at Ise and purchased many charms for friends and neighbors, he will go home with a glad heart.
For Isabella, the rickshaw pullers provided a window through which she could observe the lives of ordinary Japanese people. When she explained to them about her Christian faith, they asked her a question.
If we were to worship your God, should we have to go to your country? Being quite willing, apparently, to add another deity to their already crowded pantheon. I visited several historic towns as I retraced parts of Isabella's journey. I was amazed at how ancient culture, more than 1,000 years old, not only continues to exist today, but seems to blend in so seamlessly with the present that it almost feels a little mysterious. Also, I found it very interesting that a pilgrimage to Ise Jingu was also kind of an excuse to go traveling. You can really feel the resilience of the people back then, determined to enjoy their lives however they could. For Isabella, who valued her own faith very deeply, there were probably many things she encountered on her journey that were difficult for her to fully understand. I hope that when travelers from overseas come to visit these magnificent shrines and temples, they do so with a feeling of respect and curiosity, and are mindful of the local customs. Now, to bring my journey to an end, I'd like to wash my hands in this river and pay my respects to the inner shrine.
From Tokyo to Nara, the starting point of today's journey, it takes about 2.5 hours by Shinkansen to Kyoto, and from there, it's about 45 minutes by express train to Nara.